Hello folks, it's Dylan from Alter Universes bringing you another round of modding today. We have Brady Monroe playing Dimir Food versus Mark Mara playing Izzet Murktide with Ledger Shredders, or as appropriately named, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Because we're totally original, you know? Alright, so Mark is going to be on the play here, using a Pluto Delta, fetching a Steam Vent, and playing a Dragon Thread Channeler. Pretty standard turn from Izzet Murktide. Now, Brady's deck here. Brady's deck is cool. So I'm a big fan of the food decks. They were like my first love post MH2. I played Golgari food for a long time. And as my random arty desk with Cold Upgar, the Underworld Cookbook, Oval Chase Daredevil, like it's all super cool. Well, beforehand, when you were using stuff like Feasting Troll King as like your big top end finisher, now you're using Academy Manufacturer and Time Sieve to take infinite turns, which is cool. Time Sieve is a blue and a black artifact. Its tap ability is sacrifice 5 artifacts, take an extra turn after this one. What the cool interaction is, Academy Manufacturer, a 3-mana creature from Modern Horizons 2. It is a 1/3. If you were to create a food, treasure, or clue token, you make one of each instead. So that interacts obviously very well with the Underworld Cookbook. You discard a card. Instead of just making one food token, you make a treasure, a food, and a clue. If you have an Academy Manufacturer plus 2 Underworld Cookbooks and an Oval Chase Daredevil, and Time Sieve on the board, that is infinite turns, while going +1 on artifacts every time. Same thing if you have 2 Academy Manufacturers and 1 Cookbook. It's really cool. And then you can win the repeat down of Urza Saga Constructs, and whatnot. It's one of those, like, it's not a deterministic, like, kill. Like, obviously there's, I guess, a way to fail, but you are taking extra turns, so unless your opponent has Force of Vigor, you're just going to win the game if the combo goes off. So Brady over here, he has a Pluto Delta in play, as well as a Darkslick Shores, and a Emery Lurker of the Loch, a food token on Underworld Cookbook. Mark is going to bolt the Emery. I almost said Urza. I was like, Urza's not in the deck. You could, I just don't know why you would play it. Alright, so we're going to surveil a Murktide Regent into the graveyard. Interestingly, so Mark is playing this version. We were talking about it on Monday. So the most recent challenge winner with Murktide wasn't playing Dragon Thread Channeler at all. And it's interesting. I feel that feels like sacrilegious because I love Dragon Thread Channeler. It's one of my favorite 1-drops ever printed. It's one of my favorite creatures ever printed. It just does a lot. But I have started testing the version without Channeler, and it does feel pretty good. Having access to a Force Ledger Shredder, and then some other good cards like the Fourth Bolt, the Dress Down in the Main, stuff like that, and an extra land is actually really, really nice. So I'm conflicted. Very conflicted. Alright, Brady's going to fetch a Watery Grave here. Tapped. No reason to pay the extra life. Alright, untaps and draws. Does not have a good card to discard to the cookbook. So we see Emery, Ledger Shredder, Academy Manufacturer. I'd say this deck is a Ledger Shredder deck as well, which is pretty cool, because it can turn on your Asmo, cast 2 cards, you know. The other thing is, it's another way to win during the infinite turns, is that you can just make a Ledger Shredder that's like infinitely big and then pummel your opponent. You also get a really cool interaction is if your second card is like Bauble, you can connive, discard Oval Chase Daredevil, and then the Bauble resolves, and then Oval Chase Daredevil will return to your hand. Because that's what the deck needed, right? More cute interactions with Oval Chase. Alright, it's going to Nile Spellbomb here, exiling the graveyard. Not giving Mark a chance to play Murktide Regent. Also taking Delirium away as well. I will say that's the other thing about the list that doesn't play Channeler that I'm kind of digging a lot is it's a lot less weaker. It's a lot stronger against Graveyard Hate. I almost said Grave type. It's because it's just Murktide Regent and then like Unholy Heat that you need a bunch of stuff in your graveyard for. So it works out pretty well. Alright, here comes the Ledger Shredder, which looks like it's going to get immediately counterspelled. Leaves a card on top. Draw for turn. Shredder's like the weirdest thing to fight over. Not like... Let me rephrase that. I was like, it's definitely something you don't want hitting the board, but it's always interesting when it's on the board and you play one yourself. I'm pretty sure it happens in this match, where you have two Shredders going off at the same time. It's very fucking weird. Alright, attack it in for 3. Land instant. Is there a creature in there? Okay. No more types. Maybe just attack it in for 1. Alright, Brady's able to just grow food because of the Overchase Daredevil here. He's going to try and entomb. Not entomb. Unearth. Jesus. Unearth the Ledger Shredder, which is going to eat a counterspell. Surveil Trigger. Dump in another land. Spirebluff Canal. Great land. But God, you always draw it after the after you hit 3 lands. Alright. So as Miranda Martin casting a call to card coming out, getting a copy of the Underworld Cookbook, using 2 foods to blow up the Dragon Thread Chandler. Giving it stomach poisoning. Food poisoning. It could also be stomach poisoning. Alright, what does Mark have in his hand? I see an Archmage's Charm. Those really pretty beta lands. Alright, going to Archmage Charm, try to steal the Asmro. And Brady's just going to use the effect to pop it. Alright, untap draw. Alright, fetching here. Probably getting a basic. I don't think he needs another duel. Yep, grabbing an island. Using those nice new Glacier sleeves. The Dragon Shield dual sleeves have been a slam dunk. There's been some issues with like batches of them, but for the most part, pretty solid, honestly. I've been loving the peaches. Those have been like my go-to. I think Brady is debating if he wants to play the Time Sieve here or the Academy Manufacturer. Alright, plays the Sieve, plays the Cookbook, passes the turn. Has Oval Chase and Academy Manufacturer in hand. Which is, interestingly, is infinite turns. If Brady gets to untap. Alright, we're going to Iteration. Looks like you found another Spirebluff Canal. Oh no. Yeah, finds Canal, grabs a card, put in hand. Looked like I consider. Going to tap 2, plays out Murktide Regent. Alright, Ultra Daredevil gonna make 2 foods. Untap draw, Academy Manufacturer, present infinite turns. Because that's gonna make 6 every time, and then yeah. Eventually he'll just be able to railgun the Murktide Regent and then beat Mark to death with creatures. And that is going to be game 1, folks, going to Brady. We'll be right back with game 2. And we're back with game 2, folks. Mark's going to lead on the Spire Bluff canal. Now I have a question for you. If you were playing against a deck that could take infinite turns, would you just scoop to, just assume that they actually have lethal and infinite turns? Or would you make them play that out? I don't know what I would do. I feel like if I'm unfamiliar with it, Spell Piercer in the cookbook, pretty nice. If I'm unfamiliar with it, there's a chance that I just make them play out a couple turns, at least to find something that they could present lethal with. I guess also if you just don't have a board state that can beat you to death with the manufacturer, right? It's a 20-turn clock, but alright, Mark's going to play a Ledger Shredder, cast a Mishra's Bauble, get a Connive trigger. Discards the Bolt. Get a 1/1 counter on it. So now it's a 2/4. Going to Bauble. Shows a Time Sieve. Brady was really hoping to have that cookbook go off. There's 2 Asmos in his hand. And now the duel of the Ledger Shredders. The duel of the Fates. Do I have Star Wars on my brain because I'm recording on a Wednesday? Yes. The new Kenobi episode comes out today, and I am excited. For some reason, I thought one of the cards in Mark's hand was a Plain Bout Accomplice, and I got very confused. Alright, fetching here. This is the weird part about playing against Ledger Shredder in general, right? So obviously you want to cast as many cards a turn as you can, you want to do what your deck wants to do. The issue is alright, there's a Connive trigger and then Ledger Shredder. It allows your opponent to also do things and filter their deck. So there's multiple times on Saturday, the event that I played in, where I'd have a Shredder on the board, and my opponent was like, "Do I just play one thing a turn and hope you don't trigger it during your turn?" I was like, "Oh man, it's your choice." But it's even weirder when you both have Ledger Shredders and you're both just triggering every time. Yes, Mark's will be bigger than Brady's, unless Mark discards a land at one point. But it's still going to be massive, and they it's not like they kill each other, right? It's not like you're putting +1 counters on your Channeler, and eventually your Channeler is bigger than your opponent's Channeler. Shredder has a huge toughness. That is a 3/5 right now. There's a Time Sieve, a Mishra's Bauble, there's a Connive trigger, then Brady will get the Connive. But I don't let him play an Asmarana Marty Taspian Koldakar. I still don't think I'm saying that name right. Alright, drops a Unearth. Not Unearth. Yes, Unearth. I get that and Entomb confused all the time. Alright, here comes the Underworld's best chef. Goes and gets a copy of the Underworld Cookbook. Interestingly, we have separated elementals and blink now into 2 different archetypes on Goldfish. I've been trying to put like a third deck together to play test with my coworker, and everything just like uses the same stuff. Ooh, Affinity would be cool. I do like Affinity. I could build blue-white control. I only have one set of Archmage's Triumphs. Never mind. Alright. I guess I'm just going to keep playing the decks I'm playing. Alright, so Brady's going to bobble. We're going to reveal Consider. Alright, it has Underworld Cookbook in hand, a Time Sieve, a second Ledger Shredder, which is going to get counterspelled. Surveil Trigger. I will say the other thing I've noticed a lot with Ledger Shredder is I've seen a lot of bolting Goyf situations where like someone will try to bolt the bird and the bird will connive and then get bigger and survive the bolt. Alright, Underworld Cookbook. We're going to get Connive Trigger from Marks first. Going to discard a Ledger Shredder. Alright, going to discard that, going to a 4-6. Figuring out the stats of Ledger Shredder always hurts my head. It's just such a weird one. Mark is going to cast Unholy Heat targeting Ledger Shredder, and then is going to Connive, which is also going to trigger Brady's Connive, which will allow Ledger Shredder to grow outside of the Unholy Heat damage. Which I think is the realization that Mark is doing right there, the movements. Drops a counterspell. Now Brady can't discard a land here. If he discards a land, then the Shredder dies, but currently it'll just take 6 points of damage. Goes down from a 5-7 to a 5-7? 5-8? 7. Math. You see what I mean? It's like guessing Goyf. I suck at it. I don't even fact check people for Goyf anymore. I'm like, how much? Okay, cool. I believe you. What do you get out of lying to me? Alright, it's going to crew the unlicensed hearse. That hearse is going to be massive. It just passes the turn. Does hearse stay a creature until the end of the opponent's turn? I was wondering why he would crew the hearse and then just kind of pass. Also, shout out to Wilmington customer, I think it's Justin? Justin for referring to it as Unleashed Horse, because that has become the name for it in the shop. Crew MTG. Now I don't want crew cut shirts. I just want to know if it stays a creature until the end of the turn. Yeah, it's till the end of the turn. I don't know. Maybe he's just like crewing it to present the idea of attacking and then deciding to not attack. Alright, here comes Academy Manufacturer. Passes the turn. Going to eat 2 more cards. Alright, cruise the horse. Passes the turn. Brady's going to fetch here. Getting a tapped Watery Grave. and a slew of tokens. The manufacturer interaction with Cookbook is absurd. My coworker and I were talking about it because he's the one. This is his deck that Brady's playing. Is the Jesus Christ, he has two of them. God. Oh boy, what was I gonna say? I don't even remember. Oh, my coworker thought you got to make one of whatever, not one of each, but you in fact get one of each. Connive triggers, baby. Connive triggers. The card is basically a Murktide region right now. It is a 7/10. It's just there forever. Brady's holding onto that Nile Spellbomb for dear life. I think Brady's debating if he wants to try and take an extra turn here. Alright, discards Unlicensed Horse, or Hearse, making 3 more tokens. Activates Time Sieve here, sacking off 2 foods, a treasure, and a clue. Or 2 treasures and a clue. Goes to his extra turn. Draw. Alright, 2 mana sacks to clue off, draws a card. Ooh, I think he picked up Oval Chase Daredevil. The problem is the Hearse is still active. So if Brady discards the Oval Chase to the Cookbook, he can, whatchamacallit, activate Hearse and then discard the Oval Chase in response to the trigger. But if Brady has two Cookbooks, he's okay. Alright, so Brady's going to, still in the end step, activate the Cookbook, discard the Oval Chase Daredevil. Since the Hearse has been activated already. Right, 3 mana is going to channel Udawara, bouncing the Ledger Shredder. Cost is reduced because he has a legendary creature. Shredder back to hand. Goes to cruise. I keep saying the hearse. And goes to combat, attacking in for 7, 10, 18. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep. So Brady's able to live if he cracks a food for 3 life. He can go to 1. Right, cracks the food goes to 19. Then goes down to 1. Alright, let's see if Brady can pull this off from 1 life. Plays an Urza Saga out. I feel like he should be okay, right? Like, he should be able to just take infinite turns now. There's Shredder. Bobble, Connive Trigger. I feel like you also could just, like, deck Mark out is the other funny part. Activate the cookbook. Making 3 more tokens. And then at this point, I feel like it should be a lock. Alright, Bobble's Mark. Sacks 5 tokens. Should attack with the Asmo and the... Okay, cool. Attacks for 4. Untap. Draw. Draw 2 because of the Bobble. Plays Saga as land for turn. The only thing he has to do here is just make sure he can create 5 artifacts to get to the extra turn. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 because of the Soul Guide Lantern. If he makes the construct, he's okay. Alright, 2 mana make construct. Alright, sacks tokens and artifacts off to take the extra turn. Forgets to attack this time. But we have Sagas popping, and Saga's going to go get a cookbook, and he's going to make a construct, and then he's able to just have access to infinite turns, and that is going to be the match. Brady's going to take it 2-0 with Dimir Food versus Mark Mara on Izzet Murktide. Thank you for watching, folks, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.